This is the ENGWE X24. It turns rough streets and loose trails into a calm, controlled ride, and it goes far enough on a charge that I stopped worrying about battery by lunchtime. I would put this in the all-terrain, fat tire, folding electric bike category. It is for riders who want one machine that can commute during the week, wander off pavement on the weekend, and carry a bit of cargo without feeling sketchy. It is also a good fit if you are a bigger rider or you value stability more than the light, twitchy feel of a slim city bike. I ride in a dense city with broken pavement, and I escape to gravel paths whenever I can, so I am exactly the person who benefits from a bike like this. The design looks like a compact sport utility vehicle translated into an electric bike. The frame is chunky and modern, and the proportions are purposeful. The 24-inch by 4-inch fat tires are the headline visually, but they also define the ride. That extra width gives a wide footprint and a lot of forgiveness when the surface changes under you. The bike folds, which makes storage easier, but this is not a dainty folder. I can get it into a hatchback with the seats down, and I can lean it in a hallway without taking up the whole space. The rear rack is actually useful, not a decorative afterthought. I strap a medium backpack to it and the bike stays balanced. The cables are not the tidiest I have seen, though, and while it is not a deal breaker, I notice them more on a bike that looks this bold. I wish it came with fenders because the tires throw a lot of spray on wet days. The lighting is built in at both ends with a brake light under the seat, and the hydraulic disc brakes use large rotors and feel strong at the lever. The display is bright enough to read under noon sun, and the controls fall under thumb without a learning curve. There is a throttle on the right, pedal assist buttons on the left, and a clear readout of speed and battery. My setup was straightforward. Most of it arrives assembled. I installed the handlebar, checked the brakes, aired up the tires, and charged both batteries. The bike uses 2 batteries, one tucked into the frame and one in the seat tube. Charging both on the first night took longer than a single battery bike, as you would expect, and I had to learn the routine for accessing the frame battery. You fold the frame to reach it, and that felt a bit odd the first time, but after a couple of rides, it was second nature. The weight is real. It is around 92 pounds, so I do not carry it upstairs for fun. Rolling it along is easy, and there is a walking assist mode that takes the strain out of a ramp or a steep driveway, which I used more than I expected. Out on the road, the first push on the pedals told me this motor is built for grunt. It is a 1,000-watt brushless setup with a higher peak, and it has the kind of start that makes you grin. From a stoplight, it gets to neighborhood speed quickly without feeling jerky. The torque is what sold me. On a hill that usually makes me downshift deep on a regular bike, I stayed seated, clicked the assist up, and the X24 just kept pulling. On loose gravel, it does not spin up. It hooks and goes. The fat tires and the long wheelbase create a planted feel that makes speed less stressful. I also appreciate how easy it is to tune the pedal assist levels. When I want exercise, I dial it down and let my legs do the work. When I want to cruise home, I bump it up and let the bike carry me. The throttle is my lazy switch on tired days. I use it to jump across intersections or coast up driveways. Comfort on rough stuff is this bike's party trick. There is a suspension fork up front, a central shock, and 2 pneumatic arms in the rear. I am skeptical when I see multi-link suspension on an electric bike because it can be more show than go, but here it actually works. Curbs, potholes, the lip between a bike path and a street, all of that gets rounded off. I can feel the big hits, but they do not jar my wrists or knock the chain around. I set the suspension a little firmer for smooth roads and loosened it on weekend dirt rides. The difference was obvious and the changes were simple. The fat tires add another layer of cushion, and I found that dropping a little pressure for off-pavement rides made the bike float over washboard and sandy patches without hunting for a line. Braking is confident. The hydraulic system gives a strong initial bite with a smooth pull all the way to a stop. I did high-speed braking tests on a dry day and then repeated them on damp pavement after a shower. In both cases, the bike stayed straight and controlled. The big rotors help with heat, and I did not hear any complaining when I came down a long hill and braked hard at the bottom. Range has been the decisive difference between this bike and many others I have used. With both batteries full and a mix of pedaling on medium assist, I covered close to 70 miles before the display nudged me toward a charger. On a very easy day with light wind and a lot of pedaling, I stretched it into the high 80s and rolled home with a little left. On throttle-heavy rides with hills, that number comes down, but I still finished my usual weekend loop with room to spare. The important part is not the exact number. It is that I planned my route around where I wanted to go, not around the nearest outlet. A few real days stand out. On a weekday commute, I cut through 5 blocks of torn-up city streets where crews have left trenches and patches. The X24 turned that mess into a mild vibration, and I did not have to pick a perfect line to avoid a rim hit. After work, I rode a gravel greenway with short climbs and loose corners. The bike felt sure-footed, and the wide bars gave me enough leverage to correct when the front wanted to wander. During a group ride with friends on lighter bikes, I used pedal assist levels that kept me working but not sweating through my shirt, and I had no trouble keeping pace on gentle hills. When the sky opened up on the way home one evening, the lights kept me visible, the brakes stayed strong, and the only penalty was a stripe of grit on my back because there are no fenders included. For a specific use case, grocery runs became surprisingly simple. I strap a reusable bag to the rear rack, set the pedal assist to a moderate level, and glide to the store on neighborhood streets. I lock up, load a week's worth of produce and a carton or two of milk, and ride back without fidgeting to keep balance. The low center of gravity and the weight of the bike actually help here. It does not feel twitchy when loaded. I would not carry a passenger, and there are no foot pegs. The manufacturer does not recommend two-up riding anyway, and I agree. This bike is at its best as a single rider hauler with luggage. There are a few smart touches that make daily life easier. Cruise control sounds silly on a bike until you are on a long river path. Set a comfortable speed, rest your hand, and enjoy the view. The walking assist I mentioned is a shoulder saver when parking in a basement garage or pushing up a steep curb cut. The display lets me fine-tune assist levels beyond simple low, medium, and high, so I can match the power to the terrain and my mood. The lights are wired in, which means one switch and no fiddling with separate battery-powered lamps. The dual battery design means I can remove one for charging inside and leave the other in place, or take both in if I want full range the next morning. I like that flexibility, even though managing 2 packs adds one more task to the routine. A few cautions. The weight is real and it is not for everyone. If you have to carry your bike up several flights every day, this will get old fast. The fold is helpful for storage and transport, but lifting 90+ pounds into a trunk requires proper technique and a bit of patience. Cable management could be cleaner. Without fenders, wet weather riding is messy, and while the power is addicting, it is still a big machine on small paths, so I ride with a little extra courtesy around pedestrians and slower cyclists. On the upside, the frame feels sturdy. The stated maximum rider weight around 330 pounds gives confidence to larger riders, and the fit worked well for my 5'10" height, with plenty of room to adjust. Based on the geometry, I would be comfortable recommending it to riders from around 5'6" up to about 6'4". After a lot of mixed riding, I trust this bike. It feels like a practical adventure machine. It is a daily commuter that does not flinch at craters in the asphalt, a weekend explorer that climbs without drama, and a range champion that keeps me out longer than I planned. If you want a light, zippy, minimalist city bike, this is not it. If you need something you can easily shoulder upstairs, this is not it. If you want stability, comfort, real power, and the freedom to pick any path that looks interesting, the ENGWE X24 fits. I have a short list of things I would change, starting with adding fenders and cleaning up the cable run, but the core experience is strong. It delivers on comfort, traction, stopping power, and range, and it does it in a way that feels confident rather than flashy. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the ENGWE X24. Thank you for watching.